CBS News Bay Area Afternoon Edition with Ann Makovic.
Well, right now in the afternoon edition, the stalemate on Capitol Hill continues as the White House applies pressure on the Senate to pass a funding bill. Good afternoon. I'm Ryan Yamamoto in for Ann Makovic. Thanks for joining us. We are on day 3 of the government shutdown, and it looks like it'll be stretching into next week. Taking a live look right now from the Senate floor as the upper chamber just failed to pass a Democratic measure to end the shutdown and are now voting on a competing Republican proposal, which is also expected to fail. The Senate Majority Leader says they would not likely vote over the weekend. Hanging in the balance are hundreds of thousands of federal employees who have been furloughed. President Trump now threatening mass firings if that shutdown continues. Democrats are pushing for enhanced health care tax credits, while Republicans insist on reopening the government first before heading to the negotiation table.
They're hurting the American people. Let's find a bipartisan path forward, and let's address the Republican health care crisis.
Republicans are being responsible. We're operating in good faith. And we're trying to get the Democrats to do their job, and they won't.
Food banks nationwide are preparing for increased demand, especially if money runs out for federal food assistance programs. And banks and credit unions geared toward military service members and federal employees have begun offering payment assistance or potential loans if they end up missing a paycheck mid-month. Alcatraz Island reopened today after some confusion and frustration from visitors about whether tours were operating during the shutdown. Our chopper flew over the island earlier, and we saw large crowds getting off the ferry to explore the infamous prison. Alcatraz City Cruises, which handles ticketing for the island, announced tours are open today and will run tours tomorrow as scheduled. And moments ago, we saw a National Park Service ranger leading a tour right there on the island. Yesterday, the cruise company and the National Park Service canceled tours for the day, only saying on their website it was due to a lapse in federal funding. Frustrated tourists were offered refunds or a ride around the bay. It's unclear what changed, but our own Suji Nam is hopping on a ferry to Alcatraz. We'll have much more coming up at 6. The ripple effects of the government shutdown will also impact Fleet Week, which kicks off on Sunday in San Francisco. The Navy's Blue Angels will not fly next week, at least for now, but the event is moving forward with parades, concerts, neighborhood events, and an air show with the Canadian snowbirds. Veronica Macias has more on what we can expect.
Okay, so we know that Fleet Week is going to continue this week, but there's going to be some very noticeable differences in the skies. That's because the headliner, the U.S. Navy Blue Angels, not expected to be performing. So we could expect to see a smaller crowd. And out here at Fort Viewpoint, already we see a difference. There's no federal workers out here when there should be. So maybe we're going to see the smaller crowd, but nonetheless a celebration. We're not getting our hopes up when it comes to the government leaders reaching a deal by next weekend. That's because the last time around, the shutdown, it lasted more than 30 days. Still, the celebration will go on, and this is also a milestone for the Navy, celebrating its 250th anniversary. We won't have those Blue Angels or a parade of Navy ships, but there will be several events, concerts, and presentations by non-military pilots, the community coming together here and also having some neighborly help from the Canadian snowbirds. For the first time since 2017, we're going to see them out here performing 30-minute performances from the snowbirds, along with the Patriots jet team, a group of volunteer civilian pilots, also taking to the skies and promising spectacular aerobatics. So this tradition will continue this year, and it will continue in Salinas at the California International Air Show. That's starting today, Friday, and it runs through Sunday. And they're going to have a number of performances. Something different this year, Archer Aviation and Joby Aviation taking to the skies in a vertical way with their electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, and also a variety of ground acts with other civilian airshow performers taking to the skies for those spectators to enjoy. So a little different this year when it comes to Fleet Week, but nonetheless a celebration.
Well, we're following all the local impacts of the shutdown and the latest developments in Washington. You can find updates anytime on kpix.com and streaming on the free CBS News app. Now to a developing story out of Santa Rosa, where police are investigating a homicide after a driver found a body lying on the street. Police say they just got a call just before 6:30 this morning Officers say when they got to the scene on Brockwood Avenue, they found an adult man with a gunshot wound. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Officers have closed parts of Brookwood Avenue near the fairgrounds. Police say they are canvassing the area looking for clues. They don't believe there is a threat to the public. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs will make his final plea in court today. In July, a jury convicted him on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. Jared Hill has the latest.
How you feeling today, Mama?
Sean Diddy Combs made a final appeal for leniency ahead of his sentencing hearing today.
My nose fell off.
Overnight, Combs' legal team released a 12-minute video painting him as a family man, philanthropist, and mentor.
This is our 3rd school we have opened. It's official.
In July, a jury found the music mogul guilty of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, linked to 2 ex-girlfriends, Cassandra Ventura and another woman who testified as Jane. Combs was acquitted on the 2 more serious charges of racketeering and sex trafficking, avoiding the possibility of life in prison. In a 4-page letter to the judge overseeing this case, Combs apologized for his actions, asked for mercy, and promised never to commit a crime again. Sentiments echoed in the court. During the nearly 2-month trial, prosecutors sought to establish that Combs orchestrated a criminal enterprise and forced women into sex with escorts, requesting a sentence of over 11 years. The defense argued those acts were consensual and asked for 14 months.
Racketeering sex trafficking cases are like fire-breathing dragons, and he slayed the dragon.
David Shapiro is a former New Jersey prosecutor and professor at John Jay College of Criminal Justice.
They, on their own, are dotting I's and crossing T's for an appeal.
Each of Combs' prostitution-related convictions carried a maximum sentence of 10 years behind bars.
Again, the sentencing of Sean Diddy Combs is underway at this hour. We'll bring you the latest as we get it. And we're learning officers in the UK may have shot and killed a victim during the Manchester terror attack yesterday. One of the 2 people killed outside a synagogue died from an apparent gunshot wound, according to Manchester police. Investigators determined the victim was hit by police because the suspect did not have a firearm. According to police, the suspect drove directly at people outside the synagogue and then stabbed them with a knife. It happened on Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish religious calendar. Safety advocates and activists from San Francisco's Asian American community are protesting the diversion of convicted felon Troy McAllister. They say the repeat offender should be held accountable after killing 2 women in a deadly hit and run on New Year's Eve in 2020. Police say when they captured him, officers discovered meth and a gun inside the vehicle. Today, a judge will decide whether to divert McAllister into drug court. Now to San Jose, where there's a major update in the investigation into a smash-and-grab jewelry store robbery, all caught on camera. This morning, San Jose police announced 7 arrests across 6 cities. The suspects range in age from 18 to 31. You might remember this video from last month when more than a dozen thieves ran into Kim Hung Jewelry after ramming a car through the front window of the store. The 88-year-old owner was hurt, and the 40-year-old family business was left with more than $50,000 in damage. Investigators are still searching for suspects. Earlier, SJPD's assistant chief had this message for them.
Hiding behind a mask in a crowd of thugs will not shield you from accountability. And while you may travel long distances to commit these crimes, we will travel long distances to find you.
He also said that several kilos of suspected cocaine were found during the operations, that some of the suspects have been linked to other smash-and-grab robberies all across the Bay Area. Following the robbery, San Jose has announced a plan to offer grants to help connect small business security cameras to the city's real-time investigation center. An East Bay family is now suing Tesla over a deadly Cybertruck crash in Piedmont. A wrongful death lawsuit was filed yesterday by the family of Crystal Sukihara. She was one of 3 teens who died just before Thanksgiving last year. The Cybertruck caught fire after hitting a retaining wall and a tree. The suit says Crystal survived the crash but was locked inside the burning vehicle. Sukihara's parents say the design of the Cybertruck's doors prevented their daughter from escaping. We reached out to Tesla for comment. Well, an hours-long standoff in San Francisco came to an end this morning in the Tenderloin neighborhood. This is on Eddy Street near Taylor and Jones. Police responded to reports of shots fired around 9:20 last night and found the suspect barricaded inside a building. The suspect was eventually taken into custody and taken to the hospital. Coming up, from trash to tunes, a unique performance in the Bay Area showing off instruments made of things we throw away. Well, in today's Project Earth around the world, we dump more than 2 billion tons of trash in the landfills every year. Here in the U.S., an estimated 75% is reusable. And recently, a very special performance took place at an unusual location in the Bay Area where trash turned into musical treasure. Ann Makovic has the latest.
North of San Francisco, a few dozen families flocked to a performance with unusual instruments at a dump.
It's inspirational to see what beautiful music that they can make with these instruments.
The concert venue, Marin Sanitary Service, where big trucks dump the waste picked up from homes in San Rafael, including the trash that ends up in landfills. In the crowd, 2-year-old Wes and 5-year-old Frankie.
I'm a boy mom with 2 big fans of garbage trucks, so we had to come see them in real life.
Also in real life, the musicians who know their way around garbage. Meet the Recycled Orchestra of Cateora, a group of young performers from a remote village in Paraguay. In their hands, musical instruments made from trash, salvaged from the landfill that surrounds their town. Saxophones crafted from water pipes, bottle caps, and coins. Violins fashioned from paint cans, pizza trays, and utensils, and a stand-up bass created from an oil drum. The orchestra's motto,
"The world brings us garbage and we send back music."
Juan Carlos Arauz from the nonprofit E3 helped to facilitate their trip. He translated for founder and director Fabio Chavez.
We believe not only in hope, but that in the children that we work with and we do these performances, that it brings hope for everyone else in the world.
The orchestra inspired a workshop where kids got to make their own musical instruments out of trash intended for California landfill.
Show me. Ooh.
There were some rubber band guitars, all kinds of musical shakers made from cans, cardboard, beans, shells, and beads. And thanks to Frankie and his mom, an unusual tambourine made out of a plastic wheel, buttons, and wooden fish.
People are going to start to transform how they think about garbage, that really there might be a treasure in there without understanding and realizing what is possible.
The hope, when it comes to trash, future generations might play a different tune.
And that Recycled Orchestra has played at the Kennedy Center and for Pope Francis. They also played with Stevie Wonder and opened for Metallica while the band toured South America in 2014. Okay, back to our first alert weather right now. Let's give you a live look outside. The Transamerica building standing nice and tall, reaching into those clouds. Let's check in with meteorologist Jessica Burch. Hey, Jess.
How's it going? And happy Friday, by the way.
Yes.
We made it to the weekend, and let's take a look at this warm up that we're going to experience all throughout the Bay Area. Not necessarily today, but we are going to start seeing some 80s return into the forecast, often in the East Bay, right around the corner, ditching these 70s, even though it definitely has felt like fall here in the Bay Area with daytime highs well below average. Hey, let's zoom all the way into the North Bay real fast. I know there's a lot of fun events happening this weekend for harvest up into places like Napa and Sonoma, and all the way over into places like Santa Rosa. We're still sitting about 8 degrees below average today, about 9 degrees below average over into Concord, 4 degrees below average over into the city of San Francisco. That's putting us in the 60s or the 70s, one of the two here in the Bay Area. And we're continuing to keep a close eye on that as we head into this weekend and start to warm up. As for rainfall totals, we kept a close eye on it this week. We got close to ½ an inch in places like the Santa Clara Valley. And we're also continuing to monitor that too as we head into this weekend. Now, there are some changes in the forecast. I want to start off with the winds. It is breezy along the coast right now, up to around 20 to 30 mile per hour wind gusts. That pushes in from the northwest, and we'll continue to watch that develop into the evening hours tonight, just around dinner time, up to around 35 mile per hour winds closer to Bodega Bay, all the way over into Stinson Beach too. As you continue to head south along 101, making your way across the Golden Gate Bridge and all the way into San Francisco. If you're planning on heading to the Golden Gate Park this weekend, expect 60s each day. Partly cloudy skies, you know the drill. For hardly strictly bluegrass, you usually want to have those layers just in case, especially as the evening starts to creep upon you. Now, another thing to mention too, we take a look at the next 7 days. You see those partly cloudy skies behind me? That's the trend today, but we're ditching the clouds by tomorrow. We're seeing some sunny skies for a stretch of time here in the Bay Area, including San Francisco, Oakland, everywhere in between, and a little bit of a warm up too. 70s right around the corner for us. Watch what happens though as we make our way over into our inland spots. Now we're talking about the East Bay, the Santa Clara Valley, and up into wine country too. Let's zoom into these numbers. I mean, we're flirting back and forth either with 70s or 80s each day. Look at all the sunshine, though. This is the best part of the forecast. I know it was a rainy week for us here in the Bay Area, but we are drying up and warming up into next week with mid-80s right around the corner as we head into midweek's forecast. Now, of course, it is hardly strictly bluegrass this weekend. If you're heading out there, like I said, grab the layers. You won't need the umbrellas. We're drying up. We're seeing sunnier skies right around the corner, widespread throughout the Bay Area. It'll feel a lot more fall-like as we head into next week, too. For now, back to you.
Well, it's official. Taylor Swift is in her new era. Up next, a taste of the new music and what inspired all of it.
Your community, your news, powered by KPIX. CBS News Bay Area. Watch anywhere, anytime. Stay informed and connected. Trusted local news when you want it. CBS News Bay Area. Watch free on any device.
Well, Taylor Swift's music is here. Dedicated fans in Walnut Creek lined up at a Target store at midnight to be some of the first to get a copy of her new album, The Life of a Showgirl. There's quite a few people there. It's the pop star's 12th studio album. An upbeat song called The Fate of Ophelia kicked things off, and it appears to be a love letter to her now fiancé, Travis Kelce. Swift has made an empire writing about her own life, especially past breakups. And speaking with BBC Radio 1 this morning, she says she wasn't sure an album written while in love would come so easy to her.
I used to kind of have this dark fear that if I ever were truly like happy and free being myself and nurtured by a relationship, that what happens if the writing just dries up?
Well, Taylor Swift's excitement doesn't stop there with the album. For 3 days only, AMC Theaters will be premiering her film, the official release party of A Showgirl. I believe our producer Janelle will be there also. That's it for the afternoon edition. Remember, we're streaming 24/7 on the free CBS News app. Our next newscast is at 5 o'clock. Have a great afternoon and happy Friday.